Welcome to F260, week 36, Luke chapter 23, verses 26 to 56. The crucifixion. Highlight verse, Luke 23:33. And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him and the malefactors, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Explaining this, Jesus and two convicted criminals were nailed to crosses at a place called Calvary. Applying it, when he arrived at the site of the crucifixion, Jesus was laid down and his hands were nailed in the outstretched position to the horizontal beam. The crossbar was called the patibulum, and at this stage it was separate from the vertical beam, which was permanently set in the ground. The Romans used spikes that were 5 to 7 inches long and tapered to a sharp point. And it is important to understand that the nail would go through the place in his wrist that where the median nerve runs. This nerve would be crushed by the nail that was being pounded in. It is extremely painful. Picture taking a pair of pliers and squeezing and crushing that nerve. That effect would be similar to what Jesus experienced, and it persisted until his death. The pain was unbearable. In fact, it was literally beyond words to describe. They had to invent a new word, excruciating. Literally, excruciating means out of the cross. Think of that. They needed to create a new word because there was nothing in the language that could describe the intense anguish caused during the crucifixion. At this point, Jesus was hoisted as the crossbar was attached to the vertical stake, and then nails were driven through Jesus' feet. Again, the nerves in his feet would have been crushed, and there would have been a similar pain as in his wrists. Crushed and severed nerves was certainly bad enough, but the stresses put on Jesus' body from hanging on the cross were even worse. First, before being nailed to the cross, his arms would have immediately been stretched, probably about 6 inches in length, and both shoulders would be dislocated. This fulfilled the Old Testament prophecy in Psalm 22, which foretold the crucifixion 1,000 years before it took place, and says, "My bones are out of joint." Once a person is hanging in the vertical position, crucifixion is essentially an agonizingly slow death by asphyxiation. The stresses on the muscles and diaphragm put the chest into an inhaled position. Basically, to exhale, the individual must push up on his feet so that the tension on the muscles would be eased for a moment. In doing so, the nail would tear through the feet, eventually locking up against the tarsal bones. After managing to exhale, the person would then be able to relax down and take another breath in. Again, he would have to push himself up to exhale, scraping his previously scourged and bloodied back against the coarse wood of the cross. This would go on until the complete exhaustion would take over and he would not be able to push up and breathe anymore and would suffocate. My response: the center of salvation is the cross of Jesus. And the reason it is so easy to obtain salvation is because it costs God so much. Amen. God bless.